Well, we're at the halfway point of Season 19 and we hit Diamond Rank a couple days ago. Haven't played too much, but we were able to get 3 matches in and we're currently on a 4-win streak. The match history was cleared after the update introducing the Dreaded Conspiracy pack, but of course we're using Floowandereeze and I do have some interesting matches to show you. We are progressing in Diamond, not too challenging so far. We'll see how it goes, but let's get into these matches and see how Floowandereeze continues to perform post Dreaded Conspiracy with the new Labyrinth decks in the meta. So I don't think I've actually played against the Labyrinth yet, but I know how they play. Nonetheless, the deck list remains the same, and a card that does really well against Labyrinth is something you see in my hand already here, is Evenly Matched. This card, I think, is really the MVP of Season 19 so far, because a lot of the boards that are being put up is based around Bystials, like Bystial Dragonlink, obviously branded Bystial, which is what we're up against right here. And then you have like decks somewhat like Labyrinth and Tearlaments, which also don't really put up negates. And Evenly Matched does really well. Like, these boards are powerful because they put up interruptions, but their boards can be broken with like easy board wipes like Dark Hole, Raigekis, Evenly Matched Dusters, things along those lines. So in a deck like Floowandereeze, where you don't necessarily want to play hand traps because the impact of those hand traps are technically a little low value because of the way your deck combos, board breakers are usually the preferred method. And this opponent is going full combo here, pretty strong board setup. And against any other deck, they would have a lot of interruptions. But against Floowandereeze here, because we have the pot cards to dig, and we have a pretty good chance of drawing 1 and 3 evenly matched, this makes it a lot easier to manage. So of course we're going to go battle phase, and then instantly go evenly matched. I think we know the opponent has Branded and High Spirits. Oh no, they got a Branded Fusion off of the Albion, and then they got the Cartesia back to hand. So they're going to trigger off a couple of effects in response to the Evenly Matched. They're going to activate Branded in red to just take the Aluber back and don't fuse. So we know that they have 3 cards in hand now: Aluber, Branded Fusion, Blazing Cartesia. And then off Mirror Jade, they opt to dump a second Albion so they can search during my end phase and just banish their Mirror Jade face up. So maybe they can recur it with like an Ad Libitum or a Lubellion fusion here. So the rest of it gets banished face down. They opt to keep the Masquerade, which is going to do 600 damage to us for every card activation. We've already taken 1200 off of the Evenly and Prosperity. So the Pot of Prosperity here is going to reveal 6, and we are likely going to take that Advent of Adventure. Sure enough, we do. And this setup here, again, we know 3 of the cards. We don't know one of the cards. It could be an Ash or a Maxi or something. So this is where the Advent of Adventure can come in handy. We have to hope that it's not an Ash, because it would stop us from playing since we have 2 of the same bird. But we are going to also be able to Duality here, and we're digging for a Floowandereeze, spell or trap. So we got the spell, we played 2 of this as well as 2 of the trap, and yeah, we are taking a lot of damage, but we're going to out this Blazing Dragon in just a second because we already have the Snowl in hand. Thankfully, the opponent's last mystery card is not a hand trap. We are able to tribute over by sending with the Unexplored Winds the Masquerade, and it's not going to come back because we don't summon from the extra deck. So off of the Snowl, we are going to then trigger the effect to summon an additional 2 times, use Advent on the second Robina in hand to grab Map, and now Map is going to reveal that Eaglin that we searched off the Robina, banish a Street, and we're going to get another not fusion summon, geez, that's what Branded does. We're going to get another tribute summon off of the Eaglin, searching for an Empin here, getting one of the Robinas back to hand, summoning the Street to banish the Albion that they sent with the Mirror Jade when we evenly matched. So that will prevent the Albion from getting the search during the end phase. And Street is a bird that does a lot of damage against Branded. So you can already see we just shut off one of their major extension plays. You can banish the Branded Fusion so they can't get it back with Tragedy later or with Retribution. You can banish the opening so that they can't protect their fusion monsters. You can banish their Albaz so that Blazing Cartesia can't special summon. Like, there's so much utility to banish their graveyard. And for those of you that think Shifter doesn't do work against this deck, there's proof that it does right there, right? It shuts off Mirror Jade in and of itself. Nonetheless though, we're going to continue to rotate here. Empin is going to grab Trap card, and just like that, we have all the power spells in rotation, and we've got a Snowl and an Empin on board as well. The opponent does have 5 cards. They're going to start off with a Blazing Cartesia and then go straight into Branded Fusion, dumping Mercurier and Albaz, going into Lubellion, and I'm like, that's totally fine, go ahead and discard. Let's whittle down your resources. They discard a Tragedy, which will not get the effect since it was discarded for cost, but they probably don't care because they're going to use the second effect, which, you can only use 1 Tragedy effect per turn. Second effect in banishing it to get back a Branded Fusion for additional follow-up. But at this point, I mean, you need to be playing for game, because if you let me survive 1 more turn, I'm definitely OTKing you next turn, right? So we're going to interrupt the opponent's play here and use the Dreaming Town off of the chain to the Lubellion, the Searing Dragon here. They're going to chain Blazing Cartasia. And for those of you who watched my Thunder Dragon video where I talked about how I was afraid of Blazing Cartasia being used as a fusion for Guardian Chimera and then, you know, getting the pop and draw, this guy obviously didn't know. So, you know, there's to show you that it's not common knowledge. So for those of you that don't know, it says that if this card is fusion summoned by a spell card or effect, so it has to be fusion summoned by a spell in order for you to get the effect of the Guardian Chimera. So because it was fusion summoned off the monster, right? Hey, we're all in this together. This is why I love the people who watch my videos. They point out my mistakes even when I can't see them, because I can't read and remember every little card, especially when I don't play them, right? So yeah, he's not going to get the Guardian Chimera pop, but he will get the ad libitum on a new chain link to bring back a Mirror Jade if he chooses. And then the Lubellion resolves. So, okay, he fusion summons 4 Lubellion here, which means he can't ad libitum back a Mirror Jade from the banished pile because he fusion summoned and you can only control 1 Mirror Jade. So he's going to opt to recur the Aluber, I believe. And then we're going to resolve our bird effects here. So the opponent is going to activate Mirror Jade as the chainable chain link number 4, sending an Albion once again. Which is nutty. So they've got, yeah, 2, and did I banish one as well? Oh, they returned the one that I banished with the Stree. So yeah, they're gonna opt to banish one of my cards. I do make a misplay. I should not have activated the Snowl here. I don't know why I did. Everything's in defense. It makes no difference if they're face up or face down. I just was like, oh, well, you know, he's gonna banish my Snowl, that's fine. Not a big deal. I'm just gonna use the effect now. But you know, it's just, I wasn't just thinking, you know, you're under the timer, you don't have time to really analyze everything, you're just making decisions sometimes. He opts to banish the Empin though, which that helps me because now off this Robina, I am going to be able to search for a toucan and recur that Empin. So they will get the Aluber effect to search, but I'm like, what are you going to search? You can't Branded Fusion again, like there's nothing really that you can search. You've used your Branded in Red, like what are you going to search? And he plays more than one Branded in Red, which is an anomaly. But this Branded in Red will be able to allow him to combo off a little bit more. Funny enough, he used his Guardian Chimera, so unlikely that they play 2. So if he didn't use the Guardian Chimera off of the Cartasia fusion and fusion summon for something else, likely this Branded in Red would have had utility going into the Guardian Chimera. So a huge misplay by the opponent. That's I think he still would have lost, to be honest, but it would have made it a little bit harder on me. So we're going to now go into Ryza here. And again, a misplay, not thinking things through. I'm just like, yeah, you know, I'm just going to return that Mirror Jade, return the Albion. This is the traditional Ryza play against Branded. Outs both of their cards without sending them to the graveyard to make sure that they don't get the follow-up off of either one, you know, the Mirror Jade to pop the board, or the Albion to search for a spell or trap during the end phase. The opponent is going to trigger the Tragedy to set Branded Fusion, and then use the Branded in Red to send the Albaz and the Guardian Chimera in order to go back into Mirror Jade, resend the Albion, which means they're going to get another set. The only card it looks like they have left to set is a Branded Retribution, which is absolutely useless against us to set because we don't special summon. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated that includes the effect to special summon a monster, we don't do that at all. So if anything, I should have just left this card on board because it's better for him in the graveyard or in his hand for discard material than it is on the board. It's completely dead against us. But yeah, I wasn't, again, reading everything and trying to make the most optimal plays during the match because you're under the timer and you have to make plays rather quickly. So we draw for turn. Dark Ruler doesn't matter. We're not going to activate that because we're going to go for game this turn. We know the card in hand is Blazing Cartasia. We know these face downs aren't interruptions. They've already used their Mirror Jade interruption, so they can't use it during our turn. So this is free flowing combo. There's nothing the opponent has that can interrupt us at this point. So we're going to go full rotation with the birds, go for the Harpy Dancer. Hasn't really come up yet. I put it in there as a tech option. It can be useful because if you run the Harpy Featherstorm and you have this on field, you can activate Harpy's Featherstorm from your hand. So that's what I was testing out in that solo mode. So yeah, I'm just like going through some motions here. This is where it can be useful, getting multiple utility uses out of the unexplored winds, tributing off both the back row and, you know, again, tributing off that Retribution actually helped the opponent because it gave them back the Branded in Red. I could have just left it on board where it was doing nothing. Now we're just going to go into Ryza, and again, a bad play to return Aluber to hand, but it doesn't matter because we have game on board. And that is a bit of a drawn out Branded match, but we are able to come back and take that one after breaking the opponent's board, all starting with the evenly matched. Alright, I got a bonus clip for you here. I won't take too long on this one since I think the video is already over 10 minutes, but we're going first in this diamond match, which is nice. However, against Tearlaments, you know, your first turn is their turn 0 off of a Havnus, and the mill of Havnus gets them a Sharon fusion. Funny enough, they go kick Kalos, and they are going to make or get a lesson here. And when Eaglin resolves, part of the resolution is the tribute for the Empen, which means the Empen is on field by the time the new chain link will start for Kit Kalos to trigger the effect to search. And since it's in attack mode, it will not get the effect to search because Empen is now applied. So we're going to continue to go full rotation here. Again, just the benefits of understanding your combos. We're going to be able to get all power spells in rotation for Floowandereeze, utilizing that multiple Empen summon, even though Empen is down to 1 via using the Advent of Adventure to banish it and then recur it with the Toucan. So we are able to get a Unexplored Winds, a Dreaming Town, and a map on field. And then we're going to utilize the Unexplored Winds to draw 2. Doesn't draw into anything. It's funny that whenever I use Unexplored Winds and I put back birds, I always draw more birds. Never any other utility cards. Nonetheless, though, the opponent is going to be able to start off with a Foolish Burial, getting a Sullic Engrave to search, and then they're just going to continue popping off here for a little bit. You know, they're going to get their Kelbeck, their Yugiohs, yeah, they're going to get all the mills, and they're going to also get Snow to Book of Moon, the Empen. But because we activated Dreaming Town here, you're going to see that the opponent has the best board breaker for Tier Limits, which I've talked about many times before. Look at all these effects triggering off here. Finally, it gets around to us, and then after all the trigger effects, the chainable effects happen, and they opt to Super Poly away the Empen and the Eaglin, and they probably think they're going for game. They wipe my board, I don't have any follow-up, but this is the power of Floowandereeze and why I wanted to post this video in here. And one of the reasons why Snowl really comes in clutch. So the opponent is going to Kaleido, target our back row, because again, they're probably going for game. They're like, let me clear out any other interruptions and just deal with anything you have. So we Book of Moon the Rukalos off of the Kaleido targeting it, and that takes 3,000 damage off board. But even better, you can see again the rotation of all your birds, of all your power spells. It is so powerful when you can cycle your Empen, and this is why, you know, with 2 Empens it was so much more better. I hope Konami unrestricts the Empen and realizes that was a mistake, but we're able to tribute off their cards even further, getting 2 tributes off of the Unexplored Winds there, and bringing out Snowl, which will flip any special summons face down. Not that we needed to that turn because the Dreaming Town already did that, but next turn we would be able to out the entire opponent's board by battle and just have infinite card advantage over them, and they kind of realize that, and they end up scooping it up.